Hello everyone, Tech Sergeant Vance here again. In this video I'm going to give you guys a basic outline on how I clean my handguns after a short range trip. First I'll talk about the chemicals I use and then the tools. Next you'll do a ride along with me as I disassemble the Beretta Nano here as our example. I'll go into cleaning and finish up with lubrication and storage. As always, consult your manual for the firearms, specific operation, and safety. You can see here that I'm doing a basic visual and physical inspection to verify the firearm's clear. So starting with some of the chemicals I use, this here is just a basic gun oil. It's more of a preservative kind of deal and a temporary lubricant. This here is just hops number 9 solvent for cleaning out the bore. You can also use these expanding foam type cleaners or ballistol. It's whatever you guys really prefer. Next up is just going to be a small cup to hold all my trash and cleaning patches I use. I like to use grease. That's what this tube here is. It's Battle-Born grease. There's some other things I'll talk about with that. You can use Militech here to either, just to keep things moving along better. This is just a small pick to get into really close, tight to reach places or fish out patches. Basic cleaning brush that comes in any cleaning kit, or you can use a toothbrush. It'll save you a little bit of money there. So this next thing you can use, you can either use the jags here on the left, or you can use the little nylon plastic eyelets that come with cleaning kits. And on the right is just a basic brush. Make sure you guys use the proper caliber for that. Here's the T-handle. This is usually the length that you need for cleaning a barrel. Next up is some forceps. I like to use the forceps for my cleaning patches. You'll see that in a little bit. Here's just a basic shop rag to wipe off excess things or clean up spills. I like to have a bunch of extra rags sitting around so I can cut patches to size. The appropriate cut patches, I cut all these by hand to get like crabby rags and just cut them apart. Rubber gloves because we're dealing with chemicals. Pathogens get in your blood and they can really mess you up. Safety glasses because we're dealing with some springs. And whatever tools we're going to need to disassemble the pistol. For the Beretta here, I just need like a coin or something like that. So once again, I'm going to do a visual and physical inspection of the chamber, make sure the firearm is clear. Typically, I don't have ammunition around whenever I work on the bench. After disassemble here, you can look inside of the firearm here, and it's about 50 rounds in, and there's not too much stuff. There's more dog hair than there is actual fouling inside, so we're not going to have to worry about that too much. Stainless steel recoil spring, so that's not going to need too much attention either. Taking out the barrel here, looking for any wear that doesn't look right. You can see inside the barrel here the fouling that we're after. It's copper fouling from the bullet going down the barrel and powder fouling from the powder burning. So what I got here is just a clean patch, and I got my forceps. I like to use forceps to dip it into my clean solution because I don't like contaminating it. Think of it like a bathtub. If you got a nice bathtub going, you dump like muddy boots in the bathtub, then you got a dirty bathtub water, and it was kind of pointless. So that's my logic behind there. So using the brass jags, I simply just put the patch over top of the chamber area, and then I'll push it through. I'm going to scrub this a little bit. Typically with a precision firearm like a rifle you wouldn't be doing that, but pistols, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter too much. I flip the patch over and I'm going to use the other side. You guys are going to notice that I'm a little bit cheap and I don't get paid to do this kind of stuff, so I like to use stuff to the fullest. You can see a little bit of discoloration, but not too much. Wipe down the crown of the barrel and the chamber area. Next thing I'm going to do here where the shells in the magazine ride on the slide, you can see the brass jackets have worn off on there. In addition to, in this next picture, you're going to see around the firing pinhole the fouling from the shell actually igniting. So just taking that same patch, I'm going to soak that stuff. You want to let it soak for probably about 5 to 10 minutes, but make sure you read the manufacturer's specifications on the solvent that you're using. I'm also going to wipe down the barrel area as well. This is the tracks of the slide, and I'm going to wipe down there because I like to use grease, and grease has a tendency to attract dirt and just contaminants in general. So I'm trying to break all that stuff up so I can get it out of there. While I got a lull in the action, I'm trying to give you guys a little bit better content here over narrating some of this stuff. So let me know how it goes, and I'll take your feedback. So after about that 5-10 minutes or whatever the manufacturer suggested, I'm going to take my shop rag here and I'm just going to wipe off all the excess stuff. Focusing on those areas, also inspecting while I am cleaning. Next thing I'm going to do is take that brush and I'm going to scrub out those areas that are hard to reach. Also the tracks of the slide there, or the slide rails. This here I'm cleaning out the dead skin that's inside of the slide serrations from cocking the pistol. Just getting all that excess stuff and getting everything at once over on inspection. So after that time, I'm going to take another clean patch, get into my solvent there. Once again, I'm trying to save solvent and patches, so that's why I like using the forceps as well. Going to take my brass jag here and go from the chamber side. A good rule of thumb is you want to go from the chamber side to the muzzle side so you don't mess up your crown. You can see the difference in coloration from that patch, and it's kind of blue in some spots. That's the actual copper from the bullet going down the barrel that's corroding off there that solvent has sped up. So this is just using the brass brush, taking a clean dry patch, putting it through there, and you can see a lot of the stuff that's come off already. This is really up to you guys. It's subjective. If you want to go and do a whole nother cycle of this, by all means go ahead. Just watch how long you let that solvent set on there, because it can take some finishes of older firearms off. So as always, like I said, research it and use what the manufacturer says. So this patch here is going to come out a lot cleaner. Like I said, this was only about 50 rounds of shooting, so it's really not that big of a cleaning chore to do. So after that, I'm just going to give the barrel one more inspection. You can see down inside of the rifling, it's a lot cleaner than it was before we started the whole process. Looking at the chamber and the feed ramp there, making sure nothing's deformed. So this is that battle-born grease. It's kind of a good tool to use whenever you're trying to get in hard-to-reach places, but I have a couple complaints here, and I'll let them happen. I'm going to put it in the slide rails and also in the locking lug there for the barrel. Just the heavy use areas. I like using grease a little bit better because it stays around, and it's a little bit better than oil, I feel. So using that tip, this is one thing I don't like. It's kind of hard to get it out of there once, and you might hear it click, and that's the pressure actually equalizing inside of there, and I get the grease out finally. You can see it's flowing there. And just a little bit on the back of the slide. That way when I reassemble the pistol, that it's all going to disperse evenly across the slide rails on the frame itself. So here's the other thing I don't like about the battle-born grease syringe. After you push it in there, then you get a nice pigtail of grease that comes out, and then half of the grease that you had in the tube ends up everywhere. So I end up pulling the syringe back out, putting the barrel back in, looking at the stainless steel recoil spring, reassembling slide. You can see where I put the grease at, and whenever I put it on there, it's going to slide all the way down those guide rails. I didn't show cleaning out the frame. A basic wipe down of a dry cloth was all that was really needed for it, so I didn't feel like I needed to add it in there. This is me function checking, and everything turned out fine on it. If something went wrong, of course, I'd fault it from there. A little bit of oil on the rag and wiping it down just keeps body salts off of it and cleaning out those little areas and excess grease. So that's it, guys. That's my basic handgun cleaning tutorial for you guys. Like I said, after 50 rounds. If you guys like this, look forward to a couple other videos on some rifles maybe or something in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it.